Okay, we've gone ahead, removing the door from the car. We've marked it on the car. You want to mark it on the car. We take it off to trim it. You really can't get to the leading edge of the door. You can't trim that well while it's on the car. So we take it off. We're going to trim it, grind it for the first time. We'll do another fit, remark it, and do a final fit on the car. Okay, so here we go. For this, you're just going to want to use a grinder. Unless you've got a lot of material, usually, you know, like I said, the doors will come a tight fit. There really isn't much to take off, so you can get away with just using a 3-inch grinder on this.
All right, guys, as you can see, this isn't the most glorious job. That's why most people stay away from it. If you're okay with getting a little dirty, this is where it's at.
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't take too long. If you got a good tool, this is a 36 grit pad. It takes it off pretty quick. You're going to want to wear a respirator or a dust mask, and obviously a pair of goggles also. I've got some prescription glasses on to help me see the line better, but you're going to want to be protected. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to fit this. We're going to take this tape off. We're going to fit it one more time. Probably do the same process all over again one more time. We'll have to, you know, bolt it up, retape it, take it off, and do it one more time, and then that should be it. We'll radius the edges just like we did the front fender well.
You guys don't have to put all 4 bolts in. 2 bolts will do. That's just going to get you rough where you need to be.
That's it.
Yep, just get it in the hole. And if you come onto this side, you'll see, just by doing that little bit, okay? Just by doing that little bit, look how close we already are to that door being where it needs to be. You'll see the gap just by making that small cut. And it looks
okay. Yeah, we're pretty close in the front to what we want to be. You want, you know, do 3/16, 1/4 inch, depending on your preference.
You want to make sure you don't hang up on this corner too. That's what we say. We always roll the edges. We roll the back of the edge also. But I mean, as you can see, I mean, this door is already swinging and in the hole. So John's going to refine line it.
We're going to go ahead and fine line one more time. Like I said, basically you want to base it on the opening and go from there in. And we're basically going to go up to 0 right about here because our front gap is good. Let's check the top edge here. Just got a little bit to do up here. And that should be it. We're going to take this off one more time and hit it one more time with a grinder, and that should be it. We hope.
2 to 3 times. Usually 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
You'll get it in the hole, and then what you're going to do is do your final. Now you're going to take more of the finesse to actually do the final of, getting that rolled over, getting that exactly at the same gap. We're just going to do it real rough for now, but you'll see, when somebody's doing real rough, it's closer than you think. That was, quick trim, but it works pretty well. And then we'll show you how the adjustment is. We actually have a lot of adjustment in the door, front to back, and if you look over here, these are our front to back. Now you can move this up and down a little bit where you can rock the back and the front. If you look in here, there's also slots. So there's a slot in and out and a slot for up and down. So this hinge could pretty much go anywhere you want it to. So now that we finally have that gap, we can go through it, we can do our fine line. We'll fine line the whole thing probably one more time, but we'll get our fine adjustment out of those. So now you can see you can move this forward, or you can move it back. So he'll justify that gap on the front. You okay there?
Yeah.
Okay, then we can do the rest. So that gap there, you can see that's just John freehanding it. He's just used nothing, no block, no nothing. That's a freehand job all the way around. So if you guys spend some time with a block, and we'll show you how the block works, he'll go through. And this piece here also needs to be trimmed up a little bit. We're going to get this thing flat right here. And once that gets flattened out, it actually slides over this piece as well. You'll see where it drags right there. So now, this is what we're feeling. We're feeling to make sure this is all straight, level. This looks like it needs to come out at the bottom. So we can do that by pivoting the hinge out. So I'll show you guys how to pivot that hinge. I actually use 3/16 you look, it's a 3/16 Allen long extension. What this is going to do, it's going to loosen those two Allens. Come on the other side, I'll show you. And loosen up those Allens right there. So you'll see that'll be loose. And that'll be loose. Now we have full adjustment of this door. And as we put the door in, we can actually go through, bring the bottom out. Now you see it's way better. So just by making that small adjustment, we can bring the top in and it brings the bottom out. Now look at my gap. It's almost perfect all the way around. And then we can tighten the lower bolt and that'll give us a little more adjustment. So the top's pretty much tight. When you take the body back off, I always leave the hinges on, so leave the hinges where they are. They don't need to come off the body anymore. So we'll just unbolt this and then eventually take your doors off. When you pull the body off, leave these here. That way your adjustments are all the same. Okay, if you see this piece here, we're also really low here. That has to come up. We're going to trim that up a little bit as well. And then we'll try to give our final adjustment on that door. So that's how we rough a door in. So we'll go through. We're going to go get some blocks, and then we'll show you how we actually take it and we block it out.
Okay, here we are. We got our door all pretty much gapped the way we want it. Once you get your gap all done, I got a block here with some 80 grit sandpaper on it. You're just going to go ahead, you're going to go around the whole door, straightening it out. Just to get any ripples out that you may have put in with that grinder. You're going to do that all the way around. Once you do that, again, you got a sharp, square edge. You're going to take some 80 grit. You want to put a good radius. All the way around. You want to radius that really good for paint. Primer and paint. Right now I'm doing it on the door, but you're going to want to take the door off to finish this radius all the way around. Like so.
So if you shut the door, so we can gap it, we can roll our edges. Like I said, my tool is a piece of it's a paint stick. I wrap a piece of 80 grit around it, and that's basically what Johnny's been using right now. I'll take that as my gap and as my guide. Now you're taking material off both sides. You'll take material off this side and that side. It makes it a lot easier. So now you're going to go through, and you're going to do your whole gap. If that paint stick fits, and you're going all the way around, that gap is completely consistent. So if you look at it down this way, I mean, I sanded that for 2 seconds, and that's how good of a gap you're going to get. If you can use a consistent tool like this, some guys will do it different ways. I'm just giving you a method of how we do it. This will keep a pretty consistent gap all the way around. This gap here has been working pretty well. Once you start putting primer and paints on them, they actually work really well. So this is what we kind of stick with, a little rule of thumb. So we're going to go through. We're going to finish doing the whole door with this, and then we can move on to the trunk.